Alright guys, as we can see over here, we have our brake shoes and our brake drum. So what we're going to do, we're going to inspect the lining to start off with. Let's measure the lining at the lowest point, and we can see our lining here is over 3/4 of an inch. The minimum is 1/4 of an inch, so we're good on the lining. And then you want to check your springs right here and your rollers. You want to check for any cracks on your rollers, which go on your S-cam. Any cracks or deformities, or if they're swollen up, you want to replace those. And then as you see, the spring over here is a little bent. We would replace that in this case. As we see now, we're going to measure the drum. So the drum has a maximum of 16.6 inches of wear that can be put on it. And then here we go. This drum would be within specs. We're at 16.2. 16.6 is the maximum, but it's about time that it's due. You'd want to do it beforehand, especially if you have a truck that does a lot of city driving. And as we see in this one, we have lots of wear, lots of abrasions on here. So we would recommend to replace this. You see, it's not as smooth, and you're definitely looking for any abrasion or cracks. If any of those are present, you want to report that and replace the whole drum itself. Alright, now I'm going to show the basic hub assembly. So what you see here is a wheel seal on the back. We can see the wheel seal is in a bad condition. It already has cracks in it. Plastic is shearing off. That needs to be replaced. This will leak gear fluid everywhere. So you don't want that to get that on your pads. It will soak the pads, damage them, and make them replace you. So here's what the bearing, the hub bearing. As we see here, it wasn't properly lubricated. It has lots of metal shavings that have collected over time, which is not a good sign. That shows that it was grinding for a while. Also, if we spin these little bearings on here, they don't have much free spin to them. So there's that. This needs to be replaced. And then here's the retaining rings and locks that hold the bearing when you adjust it. You want to inspect these for any cracks. As you see, they're not in the greatest shape either. You can see this one has metal shavings from spinning and collected on it. It's warped a little bit, so we'd suggest to replace those. This ring, this lock ring, as you see, has metal shavings collected on it as well. I would suggest to replace that as well. And here's some of our other hardware. And there's some warpage to that on the teeth as well. So these would have to be replaced as well. And from that, that's the conclusion for the hub. The hub itself looks good. There's no cracks on it. Just some dirt buildup. None of the studs are bent. And this was the overall hub inspection for our brakes. Thank you. Here we have our S-cam. We're going to check if our S-cam is okay, and you want to check for any torsion damage. So as it rotates through the spline. You want to make sure all the splines are okay. And then you want to make sure your splines on the brake adjuster are okay as well. And as we see, our brake adjuster connects to our chamber through here with our clevis and our pin. So we put the brake adjuster in there and place the pin to lock it in, the cotter pin. And as we see, our splines are looking okay. We also want to make sure that our automatic brake adjuster is holding the proper amount of force, and it only has about 3/4 of an inch of play to allow the retaining rings to pull back on the brake shoes. So our S-cam goes into our spider plate. See, you want to check for any cracks or abrasions on the spider plate. You also want to make sure the spider plate also is not worn out and can hold your brake shoes properly. So as we see, it's all right, and we're just missing a couple bolts on it. So we want to make sure we replace those bolts and mark that. And as we see here, here's our clevis on our brake chamber. It connects to our brake adjuster. So the brake adjuster makes sure you don't have a soft brake. And as we see, there's not too much damage on there. Studs on the brake chamber as well. You want to check those for any bends or corrosion. And you want to make sure the air fittings on your chamber are positioned well. You also want to check your hoses. If you have an air leak on your hose, that means you can't apply your brakes. And other than that, we'll go further into how much play this brake adjuster should go a little bit later.